listen, I would be remiss if I did not come and just pay a little homage to the one, the only Frankie Beverly. Listen, one of the best things I could have been turned on to in life was his music. Like, and the crazy thing is that I was turned on to it at a young age, right? Didn't realize that it would circle back around and really hit me, you know, as I got older. Because when I was younger, my aunt, she was the biggest Frankie Beverly fan, like, ever. Like, she was crazy about Frankie Beverly, you hear me? And I remember she had a picture of him where they was all at the same hotel, and she was like posed next to him. They was like out by the pool or something. So it was some kind of little picture like that. So that stuck in my mind. I wonder if she still have it. I don't know, but ever since that moment, I was like, okay, I knew he was somebody. And I was so young at the time, so I wasn't, you know, really privy to his music. But I would always hear my auntie like singing it, but I didn't, you know anything about the meaning behind anything like that. You know, I just knew that my auntie liked his music and she had a picture with him, you know. But when I was coming up, you know, music was always a big thing in my house. Like, my daddy had this big old stereo with the glass case. My mama and daddy, when they were married, they would have parties. And it's like they really brought the city out when they had parties, you know, and they had house parties, but they had the kind of house parties where you had to dress up, you know. So my daddy had on his best suit, my mama had on her best dress, everybody looking good. Of course, I wasn't there, I had to see the pictures, but I was there to, you know, see the preparations for it. And then when you see the pictures, and then you think about nowadays, you like, people don't dress like that going out no more, you know. They just don't. You know, it's a whole different vibe, different era from how it was, you know, in them, had to be in them early 80s, you know. And I just think back, boy, you know, just even listen to stories that my daddy tell, because of course he's saved now, but he wasn't always got doggone saved. So, boy, they had a time, you know, they had a time coming up in their era. And my dad and my mom, they used to listen to like a lot of Luther, you know, Kashif, like all the old school greats, you know, of course Michael, of course Prince, but music just was a big deal, you know. And my auntie, again, she was the big, which is my mama's sister, she was the big Frankie fan, you know. So that was just her thing, you know. And I say it circled back around when I got in like the 11th, 12th grade, you know, around that time. Of course, you know, in my late teens, they older men, so, you know, they come get you. They got that golden time of day playing, you know, that Southern Girl, you know, like it was a time, you know, you hear me? Like, I just feel like the young people now, but they just missing out, because they just missing out on all the good, just the good vibes, just the good being, just existing in an era when, I don't know, you know, when relationships meant something, when people meant something, when everybody wasn't on the take, everybody wasn't on the get over. Yeah, you always had people that was on that, but the whole existence of the relationship wasn't about that. You know, it wasn't enough for a man to come and get you and y'all just ride and hang out and just actually talk. It wasn't about him taking you to a $200 meal. It was just about y'all being in the moment, just listening to good music, just doing whatever it is y'all do, whether y'all sip a little some people smoked a little some, whatever it was, you know, it was in decency and in order for as much as it could be. I would say that, you know. It just was a time. And I'm just like, now I know that people not having those same type of experiences. But if it wasn't for the music greats like Frankie Beverly, like Luther, like, you know, all the good ones that came, you know, that made music that just gave you something to think about, gave you something to look forward to, gave you something to fantasize about. You know, if it wasn't for them, Lord goodness gracious, what would we have now? Because we don't have any type of music like that now that's really being made, other than some of like the new neo soul type girls, you know, maybe like the, you know, the Tim's and the hers, Ella Maze, you know, that type of stuff. But even that has like an element of hip hop in it, you know. And I love their music, but it just was a time when that type of music was being made, you know. And I just feel like even when I listen to some of that stuff today, I'm just like, some of the answers that we be really looking for in relationships is embedded in a lot of these songs. You know, like real simple stuff. They already done sung about it. That's why I guess they say ain't nothing new under the sun. These people done already sung they heart out about the experiences that they have had. You know, and like I say, a lot of the big questions, they embedded right in them songs. You know, the one song I say, one of the songs that was most influential to me was Frankie Beverly's song While I'm Alone. From the first time I heard that thing did something to me, you know, because it showed for me, it just showed a man being vulnerable and really being able to express the fact that he don't like to be alone. You know, and I loved hearing that, because a lot of times, you know, especially when I first heard it, you know, it was, you know, in the era where the men, they macho, you know, so really opening up to you and kind of showing you how they really feel, you know, they had to be taught how to do that because they didn't necessarily do it naturally. So to hear Frankie Beverly saying, you know, how he felt when the lady left, you know, the things we did this time in love we never did before. You made some changes in my head. I don't feel the same no more. Yes, you hear me? Tell me it's not make-believe, these feelings that you've shown. Ooh, to comfort me while I'm alone. Listen. God bless that man. You hear me? God bless that man. That man did his thing and he gave to the end. You know, when I started following him on Instagram, and it's like that man, he, even when his voice had done gave out, you know. And as crazy as it is though, I never went to a show, and yeah, they came to our city a few times, and I never did. And then by the time I was like, for sure I'm going before this man leave here, his voice wasn't like the same. So I was just like, you know what, I've enjoyed his music all this time. Like, I still continue to enjoy it, but I just didn't feel that going in person would do it justice, you know. But I'm privileged to have been born in an era where I could enjoy it, and then I could have people who came before me that enjoy it just as much, you know. Let me tell you something, it just like I always say, you know, I deal with a lot of street dudes, but it wasn't nothing like the feeling of a street dude coming to pick you up and his ride clean AC blowing, and Frankie bellowing out some tunes, because he could have picked any person in the world, any rapper. All the rappers was good at that time when we was coming up. I mean, he could have played any song he want, but when you get in that car, that AC blowing, and he got Frankie playing, you don't even have to like him, and you already like him. You hear me? Like, it just was a time, man. I appreciate the what he gave to this world through music. I so appreciate it, because like, I'm a big music person, and like, if it wasn't for like the copyright stuff, I would have music playing in every single video. You hear me? Because I just really be on that. Like, music, it just puts me in a place, you know. When I'm going through things, music can kind of redirect me, you know. My freshman year in college, that was it was a fun time, but it was a hard time. It was the first time I was away from my family. Then I was far away. To me, it was far, you know. I couldn't just get there in an hour or two. So music took me through that, you know. And I say Mary J. Blige and Sade, she was another one that my daddy was crazy about, some Sade boy. But yeah, Mary J. Blige and Sade, those two women, like, their music really took me through my freshman year in college, and really just tapping into the stuff they were talking about and being able to relate to some of it at the time, but later in life being able to relate to all of it, you know. So I just really appreciate what these people have given us through music. Through music that really means something, through music that is not just, you know, talking about hurting people, talking about, you know, all the negatives. You know, we live in life, we already know the negatives. We don't always have to have it highlighted in everything, in every artistic form, you know what I'm saying, all the time. So yeah, if anybody is not in the know of the music, the legend and the legacy of Frankie Beverly, I would encourage anybody to, you know, tap into that if they're into music, you know, because it would be hard for a person who all you done listen to is drill, hip-hop, rap, killing this, that, to hear Frankie and be like, oh yeah, I like it. Probably not. You know, you would have had to kind of come up hearing somebody play it, or you just, you know, have to be a music connoisseur yourself and, you know, just run across it. But most of the music connoisseurs, they are already tapped into, you know, the greats like Frankie Beverly. So yeah, thank you, Howard Stanley, because you did your thing. You did your big one while you were here, and you really blessed us. You really blessed us, not only, you know, at the time you were making it, but you blessed us for forever, because we'll forever have your artistic contributions. We appreciate that. So yeah, it is the golden time of day, and I gotta get to work. So y'all enjoy your weekend.